Hi everyone. So thank you for joining us today for closed webinar on the latest trends in 3D garment technology and their impact on textile and apparel production. So today with me, I have two very special guests from Chloe, Serena, and Mandy. So they're going to share about the topic on the latest 3D garment technology, and I'll let them take it from here. So Serena?
Thank you, May, for the introduction. I'm Serena. I handle business development in Clo, Hong Kong. And as shared by May, I'm here with Mandy. She would jump in, in the middle and during the presentation. I would take over my part afterwards. And in the meantime, I'll start the presentation. Today, as mentioned, I'll be covering about the latest trends of 3D garment technology and its impact on apparel production. Because I'm from Clo and I'm from the fashion industry, today I'll focus on our products and platforms, and then also cover about the latest trends from the apparel production. And to start, just to give you a brief understanding about our company, actually our company specializes in true-to-life 3D soft goods simulation technology. What it means is we could create garments, we could create home goods, bags, or anything that we can create by fabrics or patterns. It could be used by our softwares and platforms and be created from there. The products that you're seeing here are 100% created digitally by using our technology. Our company, we have different products, and the main ones are the ones that you could see here. It's Clo, the 3D program that most of the people might know that are participating here. And Closet, it's a platform that you use together with Clo. It's also for the fashion industry. And the other two would be Marvelous Designer and Jenny. But today, as the topic is, I would just focus on these two platforms. For Clo and Closet, it's definitely for the fashion industry. A lot of companies such as brands, suppliers, manufacturing companies, factories, agents, and sourcing offices use it for different purposes, as well as fashion academic institutions for their research and to teach it to the students. You could see some. It's also in our website. There are various types of companies that you could find out, as well as the academic clients are also in the websites. And why they use 3D in their working processes. I could point out 3 different purposes. It's usually for more efficiency in terms of their production lead time. And because of the consumer demand, they want the process faster and also to save the cost, and definitely considering about the environmental issues to get more sustainability into their processes. And recently, definitely a lot of companies are also considering about business expansion in terms of creativity in their design collections, also to plan on depending on their data. And also considering about the digital collections, which is also rising trends about NFTs and digital assets as well. And before I move on to how they use Clo and this technology in their working processes, I would like to pass it over to Mandy to do a introduction about our product in more details first. Let me stop sharing.
Hi, everyone. Good night and good evening. Sorry. I'm Mandy from Clo Hong Kong, which is 3D designers and supporting different 3D users for using Clo. So in the following sections, I will demonstrate how to use Clo to create virtual garments and with various functions and features. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? I think everyone does, okay. So to start with, you can see in the code interface, we can showcase different both 3D and 2D windows. We first will add in our avatars, which is virtual dummies. And you can see I just add in a very basic box of t-shirts. So it's just a few clicks. I can modify the missing half of the blocks and make it onto the avatars. So you can clearly know which pattern pieces belong to different parts of the avatar's body. And one of the strongest things of Clo is now we got the auto sewing function. So you don't need to really get to know the sewing relationship, but you just few clicks, you can we have the auto sewing for you. So another features that is you can easily in 3D, you can modify the style lines. As you can see, I just altered the necklines and even the front shapes of the necklines now returning to like a bit heart shape. And even the length of the t-shirts. So just easy clicks. And now even we can add in the style, draw the style lines upon the sewing garments. You can see I just draw the style across the front and back under the armholes. And now I would turn these t-shirts into a vest. And of course, not just 3D windows, but in 2D, we can utilize some tools to drag the points and modify, move the lines. You can easily to modify the shapes of the garments. So you can create different styles, shapes according to what you want to create in the presentations. So now here we got the some even more tools to let's say enrich the garment details. Such now I add the fullness. It just like physical lives as a pattern makers. You can more easily to modify the patterns into various shapes. And even I cut off the center fronts and to sew it back. And with some functions, I now just creating a drawstring like rusting effect at the center fronts. So this in original patterns, we can further to add in some draw our own patterns with some basic tools such as now I add a spiral kind of tools to create shapes for the patterns for the ruffles, which I would like to add in onto the shoulders and the armholes. So same, I arranged patterns and with the sewing, I quickly now got the frills for the sleeve, and just actually copy to the other side where you can see now I quickly got the motif from the modifying tops, ruffle tops, very feminine tops from the basic blocks. I can even further adjust the pattern shapes so that you can see now I fine tuning the shapes of these tops. And I add in, now I add in the bottoms, a very basic skirt. I even can add in some panels, split into panels, and with extra tools to create some more garment details, such as now I add in pleats. Also, with some simple click, I can even insert some specifications of the pleats shapes. Now I got the block pleats on the both sides of the panels. So you can see the whole process, like from the basic boards and to further manipulate it and add in still more patterns. I can now get my designs very quickly within a few minutes. And in terms of now, you can see I add in the fabrics. In Clo, we use the virtual fabrics to showcase the both texture and physical drapes. Also very simple, just drag and drop. You can see I apply different fabrics. You can see the how it drapes under the simulations. to create different silhouettes. And I even can play with different fabrics mixtures on different panels, and even to different specific fabrics. I can play with its textures, with fine-tuning its directions, scales, scale up or down, and even I play with the colors. So as in terms of colors, I can play with different chips, and we now are combined with Pantone color. So you can just simply type in the color codes. You can easily access different colors in Pantone library. And not just that, we can layering with some base texture. We can play with now. I add in a graphic so that I can layer it with some blending effects, just like what you playing the prints artworks in Photoshop. In Clo, you can also have this function, so you don't need to come in different rounds of software to create your own artworks for the overall prints. So how now you see I add in kind of graphics to become tiles and over to these layering textures. In terms of trimmings, in Close, you can see now I just add in the buttons. Also can play around with the we provide different shapes of the buttons. You can play around with the colors, even with textures. So flew kicks, I just simply add in the front of this skirt, the waistband of this skirt. And in not just buttons, but in terms of zippers, in Clo also we got the zipper tools. So you can simply add in the zipper with a few clicks, and even the zipper can unzip it and full zip it very easily in Clo. So of course, you can also, we provide different varieties of shapes and designs or types of the zipper components, such as sliders, pullers. In our libraries, we also provide YKKs, archives assets. So you can simply just few clicks, drag and drop. You can now get your details, trimming details very quickly. And for the top stitch as well. So we also have the standardized top stitch types. As also, you can fill clicks and drops. Then you can modify the top stitch details upon different garment areas. And for graphic as well. So same placement graphics. You can you can utilize different texture effects, so you can provide different placement to imitating different prints onto the virtual garments. So here we got a full comprehensive looks. We can add in some pre-made virtual garments from other garment files and layering it. So same simple settings. You can now get we now get in the jackets overlaying on top of these sets, even with the accessories. So here we are. We got the total looks right now, and I can play with the avatars with different pose, and even you can play with the avatars outlook appearance with different skin colors or different body shapes. So I can, of course, for presentations, we can play around with the same style with different colorways. So we have some also different modes to help you to play around with different colors, to provide different color combos for storytelling. And in terms of the renders in 3Ds, of course, if we want to export the result in a more realistic details, we have the render engine, and we can add in different lightings and backgrounds to showcasing the details of the garments. You can see right now I add in backgrounds in blue and play around with the lightings. Now it shows under the windows, you will see the render results is more with more depth of the backgrounds, and also the details is more clear with the lighting help. And it will have, and finally, you can play with different angles and with image exported towards and now. you can play around with different presentation storytellings, and not just for the still image, but you can also export in like this turntable, video, and even animations. But for time limits, I would just stop here. So here's my presentations.
Okay.
And yeah, we have Serena to take over right now.
Okay, thank you, Mandy, for the introduction. As now everyone is aligned about CLO, how it works, I would again start my presentation to continue of how, of how it's being used in the apparel production lead time. So this process that I've organized here, it's a very brief process of the apparel production. CLO, considering this process, could be used in two different stages, which is mainly for the design purposes, and mainly the second part would be for the technical purposes in terms of sample making. Currently, as everybody might have seen and faced, the workflow among these two stages, we cannot say it's very efficient and fast, and a lot of people are wanting to solve out the issues that they're facing right now. Mainly, one of them would be the workarounds that they have to deal with, which we consider. It's a lot about communication issues. So it could be language issues, it could be the knowledge issues, or it could be the platforms that each teams or each parties are using. But we believe that by using 3D, they would have a single language that would make the communication more efficient. So with 3D, we believe that definitely there would be efficiency in terms of communication, and due to that, the speed would get faster, and there would be less errors to be made in any parties associated in this process. So with CLO, we believe that it could be fit into this apparel production lead time. And I would start with the design part of how it's being used from the companies. So as Mandy shared the full live demo, I won't cover more in details, but there's a lot of ways that design teams are using CLO in their processes. So not only from scratch, they are actually starting now being able to start from blocks. So what I mean for blocks is from t-shirts, they are creating, let's say, like dress. Or they are saving their different pattern pieces and different parts, such as the colors, the front bodies, the sleeves, and so on, and then doing mix and match to recreate a new style. So the next time they could add more and do more mix and match to recreate it again. And definitely the 3D designers, after doing the mix and match, they could edit not only in the 2D side, but also in the 3D side according to the designs that they want. So if they put any kind of cut lines, it also applies to the 2D patterns. So it's like linked, both sides are linked together. Yep, and after doing the designs, there's also different ways of presentation. One of them could be doing the coordination and setting a stage to present to their clients. Or I'm doing turntables, opening up jackets, showing the inside, and doing design reviews first. So what's good about 3D is that we could present a lot of options, whether it could be color options, artwork options, or grading options. So within one style, it's easier than the physical garments to create more and more variety of the original version. And further, with the created 3D style, they are doing design reviews and then adjusting it from 3D right away. So if this was the 2D initial design that they had, now in 3D, they are initially designing it in this way and then editing it on, as you could see on the right. And once this is confirmed, they could move on with the 3D garment and the physical garment as well. And other ways of presentation could also be on catwalks. So this is a new way of presentation. If before it could only be seen as a static garment, now we could add movements and animations to it to show it to our buyers or end consumers. I covered very briefly about design part, and I would also now cover about the technical parts of how the companies are using Clow. So actually, Clow is not only for design, but it's also used for technical purposes. So you could see like here in this video, it could be used for pattern making and also for 3D draping. So if there's no patterns on hand or that you could import or create, you could also recreate it here in this 2D window and then start draping with this dummy that you could see here. And the second part would be the pattern making. So people might wonder, can we create 2D patterns starting from Clow? Yes, it is possible. So you could see here of how they are creating patterns. After the 3D pattern and the 2D pattern, and the 3D sample is created, you could also see the fit of the garment. So if you could see here, this is the Clow 3D sample. This is the manufactured physical sample. This is a real one, and this is a 3D one. So actually, in terms of this pattern, if you see the differences, you could see how we could actually see the general fit of the garment. So if we go through this process, we would definitely be able to reduce the number of physical fit samples at the end. And about the pattern editing part. So once the pattern or the fit is considered wrong or need adjustments, you could also directly go into the 2D pattern and then edit the patterns until you get the correct fit. And some of the reasons that it makes it possible to see the fit is because we could adjust the avatars or use any kind of body forms, scanned fit bodies or mannequins, 3D scan mannequins as well. So here, these are some of the Clow avatars. You could resize them. You could also choose different versions that is also included in the platform. And the second part would be about the fabric physics. So Clow, we also provide the fabric kit or digitizing services to digitize the physical fabrics into the 3D fabric. So if we do that, we would be able to see a more accurate fit. With different properties, you could see like the drape is different, and also the fit maps, the stream maps and the stretch maps are also different. And to further adopt this fully into the apparel production, and it has to be used between brands and the manufacturing companies or the suppliers, we would also need alignment between those two parties. So what it means about alignment is that we need to align the basics. So like what avatars are we going to use? What type of pattern, the pattern format, or with which file, and about the fabrics, about the trims, and about the artworks and graphics. And we would also need to align the quality standards, like with what quality we should proceed or not. We need to align that before a more efficient communication could happen. And definitely about the 3D workflow setting, a standard operation on process setting, it would be also needed. So in terms of this part, I would also cover a bit later because it also relates to our platform called Closet. So once this is aligned, then we could have a more active communication and also going into more technical terms. So the brands and also the suppliers could now communicate more technically in terms of the garment. So let's say like about the hemlines, to straighten it, to correct the wrinkles, how should we change the patterns to have less wrinkles, or have to shorten the length of the sleeves, or adjust the placement of the pockets, the artwork placement of the pockets, and also the measurements as well of all the patterns could also be adjusted and communicated. And after it's being in terms of it finished and approved, we could also see the fabric consumption. We could also do the pattern nesting as well. So you could see this is a function. If you're further interested, we also have a YouTube video called From Pattern to Production to see also the full working process. So overall, the benefits that companies could take by using Chloe in these two processes is again about communication efficiency, to increase the quality of the garments. Also, the adoption rates would also increase. And there would be less workarounds, reducing costs, and reducing also the speed of the garments to be on time to the market. So with this, we believe that the whole workflow would also be more efficient. So in terms of differences that I could share is, with Chloe, you could have like one 3D proto sample and then move to one 3D develop sample to fit sample, and then afterwards to production. So if before we had workarounds considering the proto sample stages, develop sample stages, or considering the color options, the grading options, and artwork options. We are trying to reduce the number of rounds into just one round to go straight into production. And considering the full supply chain consisting of the brands, the vendors, the sourcing offices, definitely we see more efficiency in terms of time and communication. Definitely considering this current COVID era, 3D and Chloe are giving more efficiency in terms of communicating and approving samples, approving processes. So this is some workflow shortenings that we've also shared in the website. So if we could compare, if before it's like 37 days of the sample lead time with just 15% adoption rate, with Chloe, we could see reduced sample lead time to 27 hours, and also increased sample adoption rate to 55%. So you can see Chloe is not just only for a specific team or specific users. It touches different parts of the working processes and also different teams. It's not just a virtualization tool, but it's a new way of language and communication. And before I move on about the product called Closet, just a few words about our roadmap. So Chloe, we have been developing a lot of features till now, but one of the key topics that we are focusing on is automation. So one of the strengths that we have is having an easy user interface, being intuitive. And to kind of strengthen this part, we are making a lot of automatic functions. The first one could be automatic grading, automatic sewing, and automatic pattern editing, which is already released in the versions. And automatic sewing first would be this one. So if before users had to click different pattern lines to sew, now you just have to place them in the body and then click on just sew, and then it would automatically sew everything. So it's possible for the basic garments for now, but we believe later on for very complicated garments would also be possible. And definitely about the automatic grading. So if we change the body specs, the grading sizes would change automatically. And the last function would be style line editing. So here, if we move the style line, this one to there, you could see the patterns also changing. So we don't need to go back to the 2D patterns, edit it, and then simulate it in 3D again. But we could just move around the 3D lines, the seam lines, and then the patterns would also automatically be adjusted. So it's keeping the shape and just moving the seam lines. And we could all definitely cut and shorten and shrink. Yep, so these are the three functions that I wanted to show as our roadmap. And there are more functions coming. And the second part I'd like to cover about Closet, which is also a connected platform with Clo. So the companies, a lot of companies nowadays is not only using a software to visualize their products and present their products, they are using it along with products that be able to manage their 3D assets and to have some connections to the supply chain, to their supply chain. So if before there's a lot of increasing waste in terms of apparel production, now with 3D, everyone could know that there's a lot of new data and that you could build up and also reuse it afterwards. This Closet, this platform is also something that could help you to build this data and to reuse it in the future. So how it works is like if you save a 3D project file, you're also not only saving the garment image, but also any information related to this 3D garment. So it could be patterns, it could be trims, it could be colors, it could be anything related to that 3D garment, as well as like who had uploaded it, on which brands and factories are connected to could also be tracked with this platform. So this is just a brief demo of how this platform works. This is a cloud website. So you could see like how users are uploading their garments. And if you click a garment, you could see it in 3D views. You could zoom in, zoom out, and see it in different colorways. And you could also communicate with your clients as well. And for the merchandisers or for the buyers that you're communicating with are not the end users, they could definitely put annotations and then communicate here. So everyone doesn't have to be end users to be part of this 3D workflow. It could just be by using this platform, just be putting comments and feedbacks to the 3D garment. And there's also tech packs generators within this platform. So as soon as you upload the 3D garment, there's as I mentioned, there's all the information related to it. So you could also generate tech packs. Also, you can see it in 3D tech packs. We believe that the future would go more towards the 3D tech packs. And further, another important part is about the data analysis. So as the data is being built up, what's good is that you could further analyze that data and use for further planning. It could be sales planning or any related to the business expansion. If you're also using other systems such as PLMs, you could also connect it with the API with Closet. And it is also connected to a 3D virtual marketplace. So it's currently open for everyone. It could be open for suppliers, trim suppliers, fabric suppliers, or garment suppliers, or even brands, or even small brands, startups, freelancers, end users, any kind of end users as well. So there's like avatars, fabrics, trims, patterns, and different 3D assets in this marketplace. So you could sell and buy from here. And it also has a service called online fitting, where you could also build it in your websites. So by having the 3D garments uploaded, you could also resize avatars and then in online see the fits of the garment. And for the last, you could also definitely think about how to secure your 3D assets. So by using this platform, you could also consider the security and to manage your 3D assets in a more secure way. So overall, Closet, we could say it's a Clo ecosystem. We believe that through this, you could manage your products, the whole workflow. Also, it's a place for a lot of information and data, and a lot of inspirations could arise by using these kinds of data, as well as it's a place of marketplace. Also, you could also do marketing, and it's basically a global 3D global community that you could join. And so we believe that like barcodes exist for every single garment, physical garment. We believe that later on, for every physical garment, there would be definitely a 3D garment together. So you could see our mission is not just to like sell different platforms or like sell 3D softwares, but it's more to virtualize every single garment on Earth. We believe that we could transform the way we produce and consume garments, and to organize all garment related data and to make it useful. So to make this happen, we recently released a software called Jenny. This is a very easy, intuitive 3D garment software. It could be used for anyone. We considered the rising trend is metaverse. So everyone, to allow everyone to create their own 3D garments, we had made this software. Everyone could try. It's free of charge for now. Yep, so we have presence globally. If you have any questions, you could reach out to any of the nearby offices. Mandy and I are from Clo Hong Kong, and you could, feel free to reach out.
I hope you guys learned a lot from Serena and Mandy and Chloe. So, and I hope that the webinar was useful to everyone as well. So thank you so much, everyone.